Number 6 on the list is what are they? Las Vegas Raiders. My mind just went Los Angeles, Oakland, and we landed on Vegas. I got there.
Get there eventually.
Nostalgia. Their GPA of 3.39. We've got a couple A minuses. CBS Sports. Was this Prisco doing CBS Sports with his little A-/A hedge move? That's such a Prisco move here. Old man Prisco. We should have him on the show. And Sports Illustrated gave them a C+. So wide range here from the Raiders. They land at 6, though, on the Check the Mic composite.
Yeah, SI hating. I don't really understand that. I don't see how you can.
Well,
I think the Raiders have had a really good offseason. I don't really understand how you could. I mean, it's not like they hate it, but a C+ is pretty average.
According to producer Will, it was multiple people on CBS's YouTube, so they gave out multiple grades. So that's what it was. I apologize to Pete. Should not.
That doesn't mean it wasn't him throwing in the hate.
No, I mean he's just a general hater. I think the Raiders one depends on what your appetite is for winning this year versus the future. Because way back when we were fixing every team in 5 minutes, some of our favorite shows, I said, forget this year, punt, look to 2026, get Spy Tech, give them a couple draft classes, and like rebuild this whole thing from scratch. And then 3 days later, they traded for Geno Smith. And so if you're saying how good are you going to be in the future, let's compete with the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos in 26 and beyond. They said, well, we can actually compete right now. So if you're saying, hey, how did these moves affect 2025? Absolutely. This was a great offseason for the Raiders because they went from no quarterback to Geno Smith, who I think by every measure is at least a top 12 to 15 quarterback, if not better, over the last few years. And so you got better at that position. They had one of the most intriguing drafts as far as various playmakers and Ashton Genty and big-bodied receivers and possession receivers. And then they brought in Pete Carroll. So if we're going to add the coach aspect of this, Pete Carroll, vibe-changing move here with the Raiders. I guess my only criticism would be, did you just like creep back toward average, right? Did you just become an 8 or 9 win team? Or did you actually lay the foundation for, hey, we actually want to win this division and overtake the Chiefs 2 and 3 years from now? Did you slow that process or did you enhance that process? I think that's TBD, but I think you definitely got better for this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got hugely better for this year. And I don't see that they've necessarily derailed their ability for in a couple of years' time. I mean, it's always what the alternative was. Like, the problem with the Raiders is for the last couple of years now, it's a different regime. So you can say, well, we wiped the slate clean, but I don't think it necessarily works that way. Like fans don't immediately wipe the slate clean. So the problem is they haven't been able to find a quarterback for the last few years. They've been the team that's had no quarterback when the music has stopped for multiple drafts now. And if you look at this one, the league essentially determined this was a 1 quarterback draft, and that quarterback was going number 1 overall. So even though the Raiders are picking reasonably high again, you could make the argument they didn't have a shot at a quarterback this year. So if that was your read of this whole landscape, you can say, well, can we really go again with no quarterback and let's focus on next year and hope next year there's a guy available? Like, how far can you just punt on quarterback before you have to do something? I think Geno Smith makes you an immediate, competitive football team in every given week, essentially. Obviously, he's not as good as Patrick Mahomes, and he's probably, he might be the 4th best quarterback in the division, 3rd or 4th anyway. But he's a massive step forward over what they've had the last couple of years. Like, he immediately makes them completely competitive again, and then they kind of reinforce that by using that draft pick on a guy like Ashton Genty, and now all of a sudden you might have a really intriguing football team. And sure, maybe it's capped. Like maybe it can't be a contender, a real Super Bowl contender with that quarterback or with that group. But I think it's a better option than like, well, let's hope that next year a quarterback shows up that we have a shot at. Like, that doesn't feel like a plan to me. That's like that. Well, you'd love to be able to rush the passer with 4 guys. Well, sure, but that's not a strategy. Like, I don't think endlessly hoping next year there's a guy that falls into your lap is the way to go.
Then you have, so Geno Smith comes in, you have Chip Kelly coming in to call the plays. And don't forget, over a decade ago, when Chip Kelly came to the Eagles, that offense was unstoppable for about a year and a half. That was, Nick Foles, 2013, incredible season. He had Mark Sanchez playing the best football of his career. There was a point where Chip Kelly's offense took the league by storm. Then it kind of got stale. It's completely different now. So it's his second chance in the NFL. He had 1 year in San Francisco that didn't go well either, but second chance in the NFL as a completely revamped offensive coordinator, plus Pete Carroll. And Spytek was also right there building the Bucs, who go into the season. I was like, man, there's some continuity, and you're not ranking Baker Mayfield as a top 5 quarterback, but everything around him looks pretty good. And so if that ends up what the Raiders look like, if that's what the Raiders look like 2 and 3 years from now, it's like, hey, I don't think Geno Smith's going toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes or even maybe Justin Herbert, but the rest of the roster is in really good shape. And if that's the strategy here, that's fine too. But yeah, they look better. They definitely look better and more competitive this year than they were the last couple.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.